there is a guitar that you've brought with you.
Oh, now this is actually, as the cognoscenti among you will know, a Stratocaster.
A Stratocaster.
This is Stratocaster.
Right?
My Telecaster is in fact up in Birmingham or somewhere with the band's equipment, so today we had to come with this. It's probably quite valuable. This Stratocaster I bought when we first got a record deal, had some money to spend. Now, I mean, Stratocaster I've always loved because it is such a beautiful thing. It is one of the great design classics of the 20th century. I mean, the people try and copy it and people try and adapt it and all that, but that is beautiful. I mean, how did they think of that? I don't know, but it's great. So as soon as I had some money, I thought, well, I would like a Stratocaster as well, and of course I couldn't paint it red and black.
Would you like to, I mean, you can talk about it all you want, but actually what people want you to do is pick it up.
They do, don't they? My guitar, my technique is very, very, I mean, you got 5 minutes, I will tell you everything I know. I tried to copy Mick Green. I didn't get it right. I mean, the guy was great. I couldn't get anywhere near that. But I got my own way of doing it. Now, what can I say? This technique, it's very percussive, and it's to do with my chord shape's a bit unusual, right? See, this chord shape, very famous. Everyone knows this one, right? But the way I do it is like that. It's 4 strings there, and whack your thumb over the top for the 6th string. Now, if you hit a chord, there it goes, right? But if you lift your fingers off the frets, it will stop it. It'll stop the sound, so you get like that. And it's really, that's all it is. Greenie was an expert at playing like breaks with right? Now, you can, so you've got your chord, you've got all your fingers on it, you lift your fingers off, what you've got a dead sound like that. Like that. What's this sound? It just does that. Up and down like that. Now, if you intermittently press your fingers down onto the fretboard, you'll get sounds, and you can cut them on like this. This hand all the time, just like that. Right? Now, you can also fill in with licks and that. And you just keep that thing going, right, like that, and it will happen. I'll demonstrate to you this riff. Now, one day I went round Mick Green's house, and he showed me this riff, right? And it was just so fantastic. I rushed home and wrote a song for it, and the song was called Going Back Home. And so it's all very appropriate because I recorded this song with Roger Daltrey for our album last year. And it goes like this one's in the key of A. Right, so you make a chord of A like that. You see, you're supposed to do it like that. Me, I do it like that, right? And you can put your little finger up there. There's some more A's up there, and the 5th string, that's A, right? And you can finger the 6th string with your thumb, right? And so you get the whole thing, put the whole thing together, and you go. And also, there's more. when it comes to the solo, like what we used to do in Dr. Feelgood, right, Lee would play the harmonica solo, and you can slide the whole thing, this thing here, you can slide the whole thing up 12 fret, which is an octave up, and you get it like this. It's great, you're going around like that. Oh, look at him, he's doing. That's more or less it.
I have got a question here which does seem relevant, and it is, from Graham Smith. The question is, why aren't your fingers cut to ribbons?
Actually, that's what I used to say to people. They go, why do you have a red scratch plate? And I go, so the men can't see the blood. But I used to really come on, sometimes it would cut, sharp. And it would... especially because sometimes I would have a guitar with a white scratch plate, and it would splash like you'd see the blood splash. It looked fantastic, right? And of course, when you're full of adrenaline and whatnot on
yes, the old whatnot
on stage, because you can't feel it, so you just keep playing away, and it will gradually. But it's all dead to the world now. It doesn't. Sometimes it bleeds, but not very often.
So, thank you very much so far, Mr. Wilko. Okay, given your own experience, do you think a brush with death gives you a heightened sense of life?
Well, obviously, I mean I'm only just now. Coming back down to earth, if you like. The whole experience from the start was everybody's imagined. What would I feel like if the doctor said to me, "You've got 6 months to live," or something? Everybody must have imagined that at some time. And I'll tell you what, it was nothing like I imagined. I'm sitting in this room. Doctor goes to me, you've got this mass on your pancreas, and he's drawing a diagram there. And then he says, unfortunately, we can't operate on this. That's your first warning. And then he said, you've got cancer. Now, it takes probably less than a second to say those words. And suddenly, the whole universe has changed. Irrevocably. Yet I felt absolutely calm, not a tremor, Like it was as if he was talking about someone else. Absolutely calm. He said a little bit to me. I don't know. There was a short kind of conversation, and then we went. I mean, I live quite near the hospital, so we were going to walk home, and walked out the door. It was this beautiful winter's day, and I looked up at the trees against the sky. It looked very beautiful, and I just suddenly felt this rush of emotion. I thought, I'm alive. And I was just looking around everything, thinking, I'm alive. And by the time we got home, I was almost ecstatic. I thought this was perhaps a kind of a shock reaction or something, and that any moment I was going to come plunging down. But no, I didn't. And it was the beginning of a most extraordinary year and a bit for me. Just crazy. I mean, sometimes you get that. That's a good one when you get the high. Sometimes you get the high and you think, I've actually done this, on Canvey Sea Wall. leave them to going like they're going, I'm alive, I'm alive. You know, I mean, you wouldn't put it in a film; it's too crummy. But but it, you know, like that. Of course, sometimes you get the other side when it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and I mean, that's the thing with cancer. It does make you feel alone, and when you get that one in the early hours and that, I mean that, you feel really alone. It's very lonely, and all I can say is if you know anybody who's got cancer, just always be there for them. You know, you don't have to pester them and that, but just always be there because they are feeling lonely. And but most of the time it was a laugh.
But you out of anyone have had the most weird experience, given that you were essentially given a life sentence, and so you felt ecstatic. You embarked on an amazing tour. You know, it was a kind of very heightened time, wasn't it? And then you had an operation and you were all right. It's like it's a bit like, you know, when people go towards the light and then they come back again.
Yeah. The whole thing wasn't anything like I would have expected. This was in fact in extra time. It was they'd given me 10 months to live, and in that 11th month was making this album with Roger Daltrey. And sometimes I would step outside the studio in the night time and think, I mean, you have to understand, I didn't know Roger very well at that time. I'd only met him a couple of times before, so he was still, to me, a star. You know, when you get to know stars, they turn into geezers. You know, but Roger was still like a star, and I'm walking about in the dark outside and thinking, wow, this just get too silly, you know. But you know, I've had a pretty good life, and now I'm ending it up making an album with Roger Daltrey, and it's, you know, you can't take it in, you know. A little while after this, I've got someone popping up and saying, "We think we can save you." Now, I mean, one of the ways I handled the whole thing was I told myself right at the beginning, right, okay, I'm going to die. I've got a few months left. I'm not going to waste any of that precious time chasing after false hopes, disappointments. I haven't got time for that. So I think I'm going to die. Just do it, and I held very strongly onto that idea, and I accepted it, and I didn't believe. I mean, you get a lot of people, you know, little cranks and people coming up to you and, you know, my friend's got an invention that he's made out of an old tea kettle or something that will solve the. You know, that can cure cancer, and you think, man, don't waste any more precious time with this. I mean, sometimes it's quite charming. I remember there was this couple in Japan that gave me this pair of socks that had yellow toes on them, and there was something about if you put them on, and as these toes vanish or whatever they do, gradually they take the cancer away. So that's quite nice. You also get this. You also get this thing, many people do this, and I know they're only trying to be helpful, but if they just sat and thought about it for a minute, people come and go, listen, my cousin knows this woman who was given 10 months to live, and she's still alive 16 months later, and you think, well, do you really think that helps me? Well, because it doesn't, but you just pass your time.
But do you find it different now? Now there's not a... I mean, there's that's a very heightened experience, and now you're back to kind of normal.
Well, as I said, it's I've probably got my feet back on the ground now, but it took a long time to, as I say, I mean, having rigidly held on to this idea that I was going to die, and then suddenly you've got a future, I mean, yeah, it might be a good. I don't know, but you know, if you're suffering from a terminal illness, you have to live in the moment, and it's a difficult thing to do. You know, it's a difficult thing to do. I mean, I've never been a person that's learnt to meditate or anything like that, but that's what you've got to do, because that's all you've got. There is no future, right? You don't have to, anything you do, you don't have to do it in reference to the future or what's going to happen. As far as the past goes, you haven't got time to make amends for all the things you wish you think, oh man, you know, all the things all your sins or whatever. You haven't got time to make amends. So you've got to forget about the past. You haven't got a future. You've got to live in that moment. Sometimes easy to do, sometimes hard.